Hey guys, I'm making this video for my fans, for anyone who has been affected by this, and for myself. This video is closure for me, as it will be the first and last time I talk about this again. Unfortunately, because Steve decided to make our private feud public, this video will feature serious accusations and petty drama. I thought I'd make parts of this response video entertaining, because why not? While addressing what needs to be addressed. For reasons I won't share on here, on March 1st, I decided I had to say goodbye to my best friend. Since then, and for that reason, he has accused me of many things. In case you haven't seen his video, the link is in the comments. There are some things I need to hold myself accountable for, and some things I need to clear up. In his video, Steve said he wasn't planning on going public
until Mike went public with things.
He went on to say,
I've had enough, and I want everyone to know that as of about mid-February, I haven't talked to Mike, and I have no plans to talk to him.
He posted a screenshot of my text to him saying that I canceled his license plate and that I wish him well, but that I no longer wanted anything to do with him. In his screenshot, he replied, okay, and that was seemingly the end of our conversation. Or so he wanted you to think. What followed that message were 60 more unanswered messages from Steve to me, as recent as March 17th, the day he released his video. 52 of those messages were sent within the 4 hours after my message. He sent me messages threatening to release personal stuff that I and other people had told him in confidence, and he violated our trust, not for any noble reason, but for malicious reasons, because he was angry that I said I wanted nothing to do with him and canceled his license plates. So he lashed out. Consider that 2 days before I sent him that text, he asked me to buy him a hairbrush and then paid me for it. When I said the hairbrush was on its way, he said, "Thanks, dog." I wasn't a danger to the community then or a sexual deviant, and that certainly isn't how you talk to someone who peeped on you or opened up your package. In my video, I'm providing a platform for 4 women that Steve misrepresented in his own video. He did not get permission to speak on their behalf, and he did not get consent to share private conversations. They will be responding to his video and accusations in their own words. Let me start by addressing the accusations that are true. I sent every single message that was released. I sent these. I sent that one. I sent that one too. That's me. I also sent that. And that. You know, seeing these all in succession is embarrassing, and I'm truly sorry to the people who I made feel uncomfortable. I can be better, and I will be better. I will always admit to my mistakes and be better, but I won't admit to something that isn't true. When you cherry pick something, you can literally make it look like anything you want, even if it's not true. Steve claims that none of these women have ever sexted me back. I don't like that I have to do this, but these cherry-picked messages paint a picture of me that isn't true. Names have been changed for their privacy. This in itself looks bad. It looks like a one-sided conversation, and that's exactly what Steve wanted it to look like. In reality, we had many conversations of a sexual nature. Here's what she told Steve. She claims that she couldn't have a single conversation with me without it turning sexual, and that even when her daughter was in the hospital, I wouldn't let up. I have released 2 months of our conversation in the comments to show that that isn't true. When she did ask me to stop, I respected that and stopped immediately. Here are the last texts she sent me. This person claims that I sent her messages of a sexual nature and that it was never reciprocal. I did, but here she is reciprocating. There's many more just like this. I have released our conversation in the comments below. Again, when she later asked me to stop because she wasn't in the right mindset, I respected that and immediately stopped. And for the record, I wasn't smearing Steve. She asked me what had happened, and I thought I was venting to a friend. Steve released a minute part of this conversation to make it look like I was immediately inappropriate with her, and that I went through her profile to find out more information about her. The picture of her wearing a collar was her default profile picture at the time. We had been talking casually, and I made a comment about it because I noticed it in her profile picture. She let me know immediately that she wasn't comfortable with me pointing that out. So I apologized, and she said, "It's okay, no worries." I never brought it up again. I have released all of our texts below to show that our conversation was non-sexual, with the exception of that one comment. I want to let you know this video call is being recorded, and I want to show you. Do you recognize this?
Yes, it's hard to see, but I see the picture of Diana.
Do you recognize this as text messages we sent?
There we go. Yes.
Okay. Yep. So I'm going to let you speak now.
That was a screenshot of obviously a conversation between you and I that I ended up sharing with Steve after the fact, regrettably. I think after you and I had a little spat, I had told you to leave me alone and kind of waited for, you to reach back out, and kind of left it alone. And then one day I think I realized that I was off your Facebook or something, and I was just so like, I was pissed off at the time, and I had said something to Steve, and we ended up, getting into more about what happened. And that's when I shared him the screenshot, in confidence. After that, he, pried more, asked me more, would try to get me to send him other things. And I didn't really feel comfortable, doing that, because he really seemed like he was, prying, but I never really thought that he would do what he did. And I know that he took things out of context. For example, I've hung out with you before. I've never felt threatened by you. I've never, I was mad at you and was, had my issues, but we worked that out. But never did I fear for my safety or think that you were some kind of, danger to me. And then when Steve and I were talking about it more recently, when obviously he was trying to, get his video up and going, I had no idea he was going to be posting the video, but, he tried to, I basically tried to defend things that I knew. He was saying things that I knew weren't 100% factual. And I'd say, no, I really think he was dating, so-and-so. And he would just try to stretch and be like, oh, he did that, Mike did all of that just to basically convince you of, X, Y, and Z. He was taking it too far. And at that point, I told him so. And then I started noticing there was discrepancies between stories he had told me. For example, he told me one day on the phone about the DC hotel incident, where supposedly he was down there with his female. You guys were sharing a hotel room, that they were butt-ass naked and doing the deed. And then all of a sudden he looked up and saw you like peeking in, and then you tried to play it off. But when he posted his video in the comments, the story changed. And so that's one thing I pointed out to him in message, and he kept trying to call me, and I couldn't take the call at the time. And I just said, I'm at work. It's not a conversation I want people overhearing. And he said it's not a conversation that I want being shared. So clearly there was a reason why he didn't want to message me about it. And there were other things that he told me. He had told me all about the whole package thing. And I just started calling him out on the discrepancies, things that he told me were not matching up. And then it got to the point where I realized what he was doing was going way too far. I saw that he was cherry picking and only taking parts of, I know, for my stuff personally. And I saw that he was doing that in other ways. And I said something to him because I felt it was wrong. And he completely freaked out on me, accused me of, I don't know, like some type of betrayal. And I pointed out to him that, the only one that violated anybody was you. You violated my trust. I sent you something in confidence, and now it's being used to fit, your agenda. And since then, he ended up calling me all types. He called me a name. He, to the point where he was creeping me out. He's made me feel more uncomfortable now than you ever got close to. Because like I said, you never made me feel like that. And I've been hesitant about saying anything publicly or doing this video because not because I don't think it's the right thing to do, because now I'm honestly worried about what Steve is going to do or try to do. Because I've spoken to him before about things, and who knows, he's obviously be a champion of screenshots and sharing. He just doesn't seem to respect anybody's privacy. But I knew I had to do it. So here's to hoping that he doesn't try to embarrass me and take me down. But it just seems like he's spiraling, and he was just, the fact that I didn't agree with him, he just started going off almost obsessively, and then he blocked me because I didn't agree with him. So
Right.
It's pretty much where things stand with what happened with me.
All right, thank you. I appreciate your time and what you said.
Yeah, of course.
Steve released these private conversations in a cluster without context or permission, so that it would appear that I sent these messages to multiple women at the same time, when in reality, these messages were months and in some cases even years apart from each other. If Steve's video was really about changing behavior, or because he was embarrassed, or for any noble reason, then he wouldn't have hacked into my account, messaging hundreds of girls perverted messages, causing them to either call the police or their boyfriend to threaten me with physical harm, because that would serve no other purpose than to perpetuate the problem. Here is what Jane had to say about Steve's video and about his accusations against me. I just want to start out by saying Steve did not have my permission to speak on my behalf in his video. His version of events is his own perception, and nothing he said had my blessing or consent. I want nothing to do with Steve anymore. I have had him blocked for a long time now. Steve and I used to be good friends, and I ended the relationship because of his abusive behavior. I do not trust Steve or feel safe being his friend. He was highly manipulative, and any personal things I told him in confidence, he has used against me in the worst way possible. Steve only acknowledges personal boundaries when it's convenient for him. Michael is still my good friend, and it's obvious this video was made by Steve to try to sabotage him.
And then drove her from Texas to Arkansas to go pick up a bunch of weed. Mike doesn't even smoke. She told me, though, that they drove a very long distance. It was several hours, like 5 or 6 hours. And so at the end of the day in Arkansas, Mike suggested they get a hotel. She told me that when they were at the hotel, the clerk asked how many beds, and Mike said 1, and that she had to chime in and say, no, get 2. She told me that when they were in the room and getting ready to sleep for the night, that she laid down, the lights were off, and then Mike said, I want to cuddle. She told me she felt really uncomfortable, but that she had to be cognizant of the fact that she was highly intoxicated at the moment and several hours away from home with no way to get back except Mike. She didn't know what to do, so she just pretended to be asleep. She said Mike made a couple more requests, and then after a minute or two, she began to hear a noise that could be described as
Steve was right about one thing. I did go to Texas to meet a girl, but that's all he was right about. Here, I'll let you hear it in her own words. Video call, and I'm going to let you speak now.
Okay. Michael Picard and I went on a road trip to Colorado together. We never went to Arkansas together. We went through New Mexico to Colorado and back. And we stayed in a hotel room. We prank called Alex Jones. And then we both slept a good bit because we had a little bit of alcohol and consumed some marijuana, or I did at least, while there, which is why I wanted to go there to smoke some medicinal marijuana. And we spent the night in a 2-bed hotel room. I believe it was a Holiday Inn. And I never once felt uncomfortable with him. I never once felt uncomfortable with him driving our rental car that we had together back through a blizzard. I had snow blindness. We were occasionally just trapped in the snow. And I never once feared that he would do something to harm me. If anything, I was worried about the weather and maybe that I would do something crazy because I get a little excited on road trips, but I definitely never once felt uncomfortable or made uncomfortable by Michael Picard or Captain Picard, as I like to call him as a nickname. And as far as I'm aware, because I can't tell you what he might have done in the bathroom, he did not jack off in front of me, masturbate, play with himself, choke his chicken, however you want to describe it, in front of me. If he did whatever in the bathroom, I don't know, and that's fine. But it was never about sexual pressure or uncomfortable feelings or anything. It was a very good trip and probably one of my best road trips in life. So, yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
He, I, and another friend of ours were in a hotel, and I caught him spying on us as we were laying in bed. He was peeking around the door frame, watching, and then when I looked at him, he said, "Oh, I was just wondering if you guys were hungry." I was really creeped out, but didn't say anything at the moment. I kind of just dismissed it and told myself not to worry about it.
Shäffer, Picard, and I went to DC. We stayed in an Airbnb, and I wanted to mention, first off, that I have never felt uncomfortable around Mike, and I certainly did not feel uncomfortable around him in the Airbnb. He is being accused of peeping into the door, which 100% did not happen. The door was ajar when we first got there, the bedroom door that Shäffer and I were staying in. It was ajar. Picard came to the door to ask if we wanted food. I didn't want any food. We had just eaten, I think, at 2 rest stops. Wasn't hungry. That was all that happened. Later on in the evening, Shäffer and I were laying in bed. And yes, just laying in bed. We definitely were not having sex. And Picard asked for a pillow. I got up and gave him a pillow, which, if we were in sexual relations, how would I have even gotten up and handed him a pillow if I, didn't have clothes on? So I do want to make it very clear that none of this ever happened. I am a victim of sexual assaults and sexual abuse for quite a bit of my life. I think that it is extremely terrible that someone is making up a story saying that I was a part of a situation that happened where someone was viewing me sexually and didn't have a right to. When this never happened, I've already been a victim, and I don't feel that it is okay to share my story and make up a story about me when nothing ever happened. Shäffer definitely had no right to tell any of this story out there, especially with the accusations he's making and how he's trying to make it sound like we were being sexual and like Picard was watching us. There was nothing to watch, nothing happened. I don't know how many times I can reiterate that. I just really want to say that Picard did not make me feel uncomfortable. And I also want to mention the way the Airbnb was set up. there's actually no way that you could have just stood by the door and peeked in. There is a wall that juts out into the bedroom by the bed, and it's not possible to have peeked in. It's just not. So everything Shäffer's saying, all that part of the story that I'm involved in is 100% not true.
I guess Steve thinks I can see through walls now.
I know that you have superpowers, but didn't know that was one of them.
Thank you very much.
You're
I appreciate
welcome.
it. I don't know why I even have to address this, but I'd like to clear this up. For privacy reasons, I won't discuss why, but Steve had a package sent over my house, and I didn't give him permission to give anyone that I don't know my address, but I let him know that the package arrived, and then I threw it in a drawer and forgot about it because of school and work. About a month later, Steve came by to pick up the package, but I couldn't immediately remember where I put it. Later that night, he accused me of throwing away his package, but I found it the next day and let him know. About a week later, he came to pick up the package, and that was that. I heard nothing about the package for 3 weeks until I decided I needed to cut him off. And then all of a sudden, I'm accused of opening up his package. I would never throw away or open up someone else's package. When we first started PayPal, we agreed that half the money would go to me and half the money would go to Steve. It was only after I sent Steve this text message that he insinuated that I stole money from PayPal.
The reason I bring it up, though, is because he just took it.
I have always been transparent. On February 26, I withdrew $57 to pay for the New Jersey toll heading to and coming back from Washington, D.C. in January, which cost $56.45. On February 28th, I withdrew $230 and spent $233.36 on a short film that I'm working on. More details on the short film in another video coming soon. On March 5th, I withdrew $1,045, which was half of the money in the account to manage on my own. Of that, I have spent $127.49 on the short film. So I have $917.51 left in donations.
A few days after Mike said the rest of the money in the PayPal was mine, I checked it and saw he made another withdrawal, this time for $440.
On March 10th, I had to withdraw $439.85 from PayPal, which was taken from Steve's portion because he had an outstanding toll bill, which came to a total of $435. Because his car was registered in my name, every time he went through a toll to troll, the bill would come to me. I reminded him in February to pay the bill, but when I got a letter in March saying that my driving privileges would be revoked in Massachusetts, I had to pay the bill myself, using his portion to do it, as it was his responsibility. You may notice the withdrawal amounts to be a little more than what I spent, but that's because PayPal takes out a fee. This is why you donated your money, so that we can pay for expenses as we produce videos for you. I keep a thorough record of everything, and I will continue to be transparent. I no longer have access to PayPal because Steve locked me out, so in the near future I will be posting a link where you can donate. Steve's intention for making his video was to ruin my reputation. He not only spread lies about me, but now he is turning on and even attacking his good friends who are coming forward to tell the truth. Steve claims he made his video to protect women, while he simultaneously attacks women who won't go along with his narrative, saying they've been bought, attacking their credibility before they've spoken, even accusing one of them of faking her seizures. What does faking a seizure have to do with anything that Steve accused me of in his video anyways? This has nothing to do with the supposed purpose of his video, unless his purpose is really to intimidate and discredit anyone who won't go along with his narrative. Unfortunately, Steve used and misrepresented innocent people who were credible only if it benefited him. And as soon as they wouldn't go along with his narrative, they were no longer credible and they were no longer his friend. When Steve learned I was making this response video, he accused me of paying women off. He accused me of berating women. And he accused me of blocking women who wouldn't be in my video, all without any evidence. Notice how when he has evidence of something, he posts it, he posts screenshots, he posts anything. But there is no evidence to support these accusations because they're not true. When his video didn't get a rise out of me, he went as far as using this woman as his prop to try to get a rise out of me. All while claiming in his video that I've never had a girl, or that he's never seen me with a girl. After I ended our friendship, he posted his video about me to both Facebook and YouTube. When that didn't garner the attention that he wanted, he posted a link to his video on my subreddit to try to funnel more views. When he didn't get the response that he wanted, he deactivated his own Facebook, claiming that it was actually Facebook that deleted his page for bullying and harassment. He later claimed he was gaslit. He feigned guilt and pretended to delete his video, only to put it back up again, all in a concerted effort to draw more attention to his video. I always thought Steve was better than this, and I'm shocked by what he did. Do I go overboard? Yes. Am I too direct? Yes. And do I need to evaluate how I speak to people? Yes. But that's not the same thing as being a danger to the community or a sexual deviant or a park flasher. Many of you have known me for years. We've hung out. You've seen my videos. I nearly get impaled with a jagged flagpole. I get poked in the eye. I get pushed around. I get elbowed. My property gets stolen. I get threatened. I get squirted on. I get treated like an animal. And I never retaliate. I would like to thank everyone who came forward to help me clear my name, and I would like to thank those who stood by me rather than make a rush to judgment. Steve, I wish you the best on all your future endeavors, but let's move on from this and say you're sorry. Oh, and ladies, I've never been more single and available in my life, so hit me up.
Danger to the community.
Danger to the community. Danger.
Sexual messages. Sexual
deviant. Danger to the community.
You and I should hook up. Sexual
deviant. Danger to the community.
I want to cuddle. Sexual
deviant. Danger to the community.
How do I get a girlfriend? Sexual
deviant. Danger to the community.
I've had enough.
That's all, folks.